Give me 2 seconds. I'm not trying to do this.
Yeah, stream's going. The stream is going now.
Jeff, can you go upstairs?
No, you need to go a bit tighter. Remember the shoulders, just tilt up a bit. That's it. Yeah, that's right. Your hands are still there. Let's start. I think it's been wide the wrong way around. Start. I think we're in the wrong channel.
Well, good morning everyone. Very exciting day for all of you, I appreciate that. And also a warm welcome to those people watching this on live stream who unfortunately can't be with us. But we think of you as being with us anyway. Now I'm not going to waste any time, I want to get on as fast as we can. Just a couple of people I want to introduce, people you'll get to know. First of all, the person with whom I set up Clipper 24 years ago, William Ward, Chief Executive. And as you'll realise, after 24 years, we've got pretty good working together. And the other person is a person you're going to get to know very, very well in the next 15 months. Someone who's going to dominate your lives. Just tell you, he's delightful. We worked together for 10 years. He's absolutely delightful, but don't cross him. The only other person I warn you not to cross is the race manager, because she'll tear you apart. So, let's get on with it. Mark, you want to come up? Get things going? Mark, race director.
Okay, good morning everybody, welcome. How are we? Excited? Yeah. Hello up there. How are you? Robin's absolutely right, by the way. I won't dominate your life, but Sarah will tear you apart if you cross her, okay? So, welcome everybody. It's really great to see so many people here. What an exciting day. It's exciting for you guys, clearly. It's exciting for us. We want to make it really, really special for you all. So before we begin, just make sure all your phones are on silent for me, please, or switched off. Mine is switched off, so please don't try and ring me. So this is my 5th Crew Allocation. So I was really proud to be a Clipper race skipper in the 2011-2012 race. I've been Deputy Race Director for 2 races, and then Race Director for the last race. So by now I'd like to think I know what I'm doing. One thing is for sure, I know exactly what it's like to be a race skipper. So you guys sat here, you race skippers, I know what it feels like. Best of luck to you all. Okay, we've also got I think we've got a really fantastic team here at the Clipper Race, and you know, it takes an awful lot to arrange a day like this. You know, a lot of effort goes in, many months of planning. So while I've got the chance, and while you're all still awake and you're all still listening to me, can we just give a huge thank you to the Clipper Race team and a round of applause, please. So I'd also like to thank all our race crew partners that are here today. We've got quite a lot of partners here, and they've been spread around the auditorium. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to interact and speak to them and find out what they've got on offer for us all. So thanks guys for supporting us today. So this is the biggest Crew Allocation that we've ever had. It is being live streamed. Many more people watching around the world. So hello to everybody at home. Hope you're going to enjoy the day as well. All Clipper Race crew in the auditorium. So please could you all stand up. Anybody in the auditorium that's race crew in the auditorium and in the upper stores, please stand up for me now. Oh, that's pretty impressive. That's also pretty scary as well, seeing all you guys. We've actually got over 400 of you here today. 400 race crew here today, and just under 300 signed up Clipper Race crew watching on the live stream at home. So just thanks so much for taking part in the Clipper Race. Give yourselves a round of applause, please. And take your seat. And there's also another important group of people here today. So I'd like to ask all our race crew supporters in the audience, so upper stores, auditorium, please can you guys stand up as well for us. All our race crew supporters. On behalf of all of our Clipper Race crew, Clipper Race staff, and everybody involved in the race, a huge thank you to you guys, because without your support, our crew cannot go off and do these sort of great adventures. So thanks for forcing, or maybe even press ganging your crew members into taking part. Thank you very much, guys. So we last got together, lots of us got together back in January for our January crew briefing. So I just want to tell you a little bit about what's happened since then. So our Clipper training team, they've been flat out, they've been delivering level 1, 2, 3 training courses. That's in the UK and over in Australia as well. So we've got lots of you guys through training already. Our expert maintenance team, so they've been flat out on the refit, coming towards the end of the refit period now. I'm sure you can imagine it's a pretty huge task, refitting 11 ocean racing yachts in 9 months. It sounds easy, but it's an awful lot of work goes into that, and it's important that we get it right. Some of the things that we've been doing on the yacht, so we've been fitting new water makers to the fleet, new watertight doors, new freshwater and diesel tanks going on there. There's a new Garmin chart plotter which we've fitted on the port helm station on deck. So lots and lots of additions and modifications. We've had 4 yachts that are already newly branded with the new team partner graphics. I'm sure you may have seen some of those. And the fleet's looking really good. We're all on track, it's on target, and the fleet will be ready for you guys to race. We've also got 2 Clipper 70s that are going to be in Gunwharf Quays, so they're there today and all day tomorrow. So anybody that wants to see the yachts, race crew, if you want to take friends and family down tomorrow, they're open boats, so they're free. Anybody can go and look and just see what the yachts are like and get a feel for what it might be like on an ocean racing yacht. Race skippers. So we've got our 11 race skips here. Oh, haven't we? Yeah, we've got 11 race skips here. It was a pretty demanding selection process. They worked really hard to get here. We certainly put them through their paces. They started work with us on the 19th of March, so they've just completed 8 weeks training with us already and got another sort of 14, 15 weeks to go with us before race starts. They're a really great bunch. We've worked with them now for a couple of months. Been a pleasure to work with so far. But I think you're really lucky to have them as your race skips as well. So good luck to them, and I think you guys will do well to meet them today and hear what they've got to say to you all. Which one of them will you get? We're going to find out in about an hour. Okay, so this is the format for the day. Next hour, we'll have a presentation. I'm going to talk to you about mechanics of the Clipper race. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Clipper training, race management, features of the race, and the little things that make up all the scoring systems of our Clipper race. Clearly, we're going to talk about seamanship and safety. That's really important to us. You're going to hear from Laura, head of partnerships. She's going to talk to you about race partners. Carla's going to come up and talk to you about the media and communication side of the race, and you are going to hear from our official race charity, UNICEF, as well. And then you're going to get to hear, I know, one of the bits that you're really looking forward to hearing, and that's Dale, our deputy, who's going to come up and go through the race route with you. Okay? By that time, you'll be bored of us. You desperately want to hear what Dale's got to say. I'm not going to ruin any surprises, but we've got quite a few nice announcements there for you, and we'll be able to give you a lot of race dates all the way up until Panama. I will then invite Sir Robin back to the stage for some important words for you, and then beyond that, at 11:30, I'm going to introduce the race skippers. So all the race skips will come up, take their seats on the stage. That's a formal introduction to all of you. And then 11:45, we go into the bit that you're really here for, which is the race crew allocation. Once the allocation is complete, that'll take about an hour. It'll be 1 o'clock pretty much by the time we finish that, and then you'll all break out into your individual team rooms and have your briefings with your skippers. While that's going on, our race crew supporters, you can stay in the main auditorium here, and you will have your very own briefing, and it's a really good briefing with our race crew supporters coordinator, Ruth, and it finishes with wine. 1700, you'll be coming out of your breakout rooms, and then 5:15, 17:15, we'll have our match crew photo, which will be out on the steps outside the Guild Hall. Okay, the weather's looking okay for that at the moment. And then 1800, once we've done with that, the day is almost finished. You guys get to do the fun bit. You go to the bars of Gunwharf Quays, selected bars, and team socials. Enjoy the evening and get to know everybody. This is where it all starts, isn't it? Your race campaign starts from here. Okay, it's exciting for us, exciting for you guys. So, should we get on with it? Okay. First off, a little bit about level 4 training. So the first level 4s actually start in about 3 weeks' time. 3 weeks tomorrow, I think it is. So not long. 2nd of June is the first level 4. So that's the time when you'll be sailing with your race skipper, your own AQP, the mates on board, which I'll talk about, and your crewmates, your teammates. And you should be sailing on your own Clipper race yacht at that point. So the aim of level 4 training is to consolidate what you've learnt on previous levels 1, 2 and 3 training, but there's some extra bits in this. Okay, you're going to get to do different skills. You're going to learn how to anchor the 70s properly, you're going to learn extra safety drills, there's going to be learning how to tow boats. We know we get situations in the race where one yacht may have to tow another yacht for whatever reason, to conserve fuel perhaps. You'll get to learn about systems on board the boats and how to transfer stores. So we may, through the race, or we will, have to transfer some spare kit or some stores across from yacht to yacht. So you'll learn how to do that properly. You'll also get to learn more of the racing side. So we will be practicing race line starts, the Le Mans, the rolling starts, and then you'll go off racing into the English Channel. I can tell you one thing, and I can guarantee this, you will not be tied up in a marina. So, we have 5 weeks of level 4 training. There's 5 optional weeks there, you need to book on one of those. We've got 535 crew that have currently booked on level 4 training so far. That leaves about 140 odd crew still to book. Okay? So it's really important, after today, you make sure, book now. Book your training in, okay? There's a lot of people still to book. And after the teams have been allocated today, we need to make sure you're all set in your teams for your level 4s. So please get in touch with our training department and book as soon as you can. Alright, so moving on, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the Clipper race features. This is going to be a little bit about the race management, some of the rules engaged with the Clipper race, the race committee, how the race works, and what sort of things go on to make up our Clipper race. So let's have a look in some detail. Okay, so race regulations and race committee. So our Clipper race committee oversee the Clipper race as a whole, and they're the people that ensure all the rules are followed properly and put in place, interpreted properly, any penalty points that might have to be applied through the race. As you probably know, we'll be sailing the race in accordance with the racing rules of sailing. But there's other documents that we have to consider with our race, and 3 documents here we've listed. So first is the notice of race. So that's a very high level document. It kind of contains information for the whole Clipper race. Simple information like when does the race start, when does the race finish, the fleet eligibility, so who can enter the Clipper race? Well, of course, that's the Clipper 70s. How the race is going to be sailed. So by day, it's the racing rules of sailing, and at night time, so from sunset to sunrise, it's the IRPCS, so the International Regulations for Prevention of Collision at Sea, the rules of the road. So this document will be officially issued beginning of June in the next few weeks, and it will be available on our website and on the Crew Hub, so it will be available for all to see. We have the sailing instructions, so this is a much bigger document, a lot of detail in there, but again, it's detail for the whole Clipper race. This gives certain information about how the race is run, with regard to starting procedures, penalty point system and the application of penalty points, if there's any protests, how the procedure for a protest, lots and lots of Clipper race rules in there, and many other details. It's a large document, and this document will be issued much nearer to the race start. And again, it will be posted on our Clipper website and on the Crew Hub, so it will be available, the SIs, the sailing instructions will be available for you to read through. And finally, we've got the course instructions, or the CIs, we call them. They're very specific, very detailed information on individual Clipper races. So during the Clipper race, I'll issue a new set of course instructions for every single race. It'll be detailed information on the start lines, the timings, finish line info, waypoint information, reporting procedures throughout the race, and so on. So these will be issued directly to our race skips, and they'll be issued about 5 days before each race begins. Okay? So that's some of the documents. So I mentioned the race committee there. So in case you're wondering, the race committee, it's not me. It's made up of 6 people there. Okay, and there's some pretty impressive names out there. I'm just lucky enough to be one of them as the race director. We've got Sir Robin, obviously our chairman and founder, at the top there. Then it's me as the race director. We have Justin Taylor, who's a former race director and Clipper race skipper. Simon Rowell. So Simon, again, former assistant race director. He's a multiple former Clipper race skipper. He's also the guy that sends out all the fleet weather throughout the race. He's very geeky, lovely man, very experienced. We have Janet Grosner. So Janet is a race manager at Rourke, so highly experienced. And we have our own race manager, Sarah Hoare. So Sarah is our Clipper race manager, but also the secretary to the race committee. So it's not me that makes all the decisions. Generally, it's the Clipper race committee. Okay. There's a hell of a lot of ocean racing experience there, but also Clipper race experience there. And just remember, the race committee's decision is final. Okay, so a little bit about the scoring of the race. You probably know already, it's a high score system. It's a high point scoring system. So very simply, the team at the end of the Clipper race with the most points will win overall. So that means there's 11 points for a win, 10 points for second place. If you finish the final yacht placing, you'll get 1 point. All races will have equal points. We may adapt that later on, but generally, all races have equal points. And there'll be bonus points available throughout the race. So I'll talk to you a little bit about that. There'll be pennants for the podium boats in each race, so the podium teams. So you get a team pennant, but you'll also, as a crew member, you'll get an individual race pennant as well. And we know that consistency and seamanship always win the Clipper race. It's not necessarily the team that wins the most races, it's consistency and seamanship all the way through the race. And what's it all for? There we go. That's the prestigious Clipper race trophy there. That's what it's all about. And if you're lucky enough to get your hands on that at the end of the Clipper race, it's something you'll be really proud of, and it's something you'll never forget as well. So that's what it's all about. All right. So some of the race features. Scoring gates first off. So we have scoring gates on most of our individual races. It's an optional gate, but it's a virtual gate along the race course. It's optional. So it basically means any team can choose to go through that gate to gain bonus points. You don't have to. I'll generally position the scoring gates just off the run line a little bit. Oh. There we go. Just off the run line. And that's basically to tease you and just to tempt you into maybe going for the scoring gate. You may compromise your overall position in the race, but you might feel it's worth that. So that's the scoring gate. There's 3 points for the first team through, 2 points for the second, and 1 point for the third. We've then got ocean sprints. So ocean sprints are just 2 lines of longitude or latitude, depending on the course. And that's an area which all teams will pass through. And it's very simple. It's the fastest 3 teams through that ocean sprint will gain 3 bonus points for the fastest, 2 for the next fastest, and 1 for the third fastest through that area. They're generally about 300 miles duration, something like that, or distance, about 36 hours duration. So any team will get a crack at the ocean sprint. So we've also got a couple more features. So first one being stealth mode. So you guys are probably aware. You can go into stealth. You can hide your position in any individual race for 24 hours. What this means is if you want to implement some top secret tactics or you've spotted something on the grids that you think is worth it, you can hide your position and then execute your plan, your navigation, and hopefully hop out in 24 hours ahead of your competitors. That's the plan. Doesn't always work. What it means is no position will be sent to all the other boats in the fleet while you're in stealth for those 24 hours, and the race viewer will show that that yacht is in stealth mode. So no position update will be put on the race viewer. We in the race office, obviously we still know where all the fleets are. So don't worry, we haven't suddenly lost a boat. We know exactly where you are. The next thing, this is one I like, this is the Joker. So you can play the Joker once only in your overall Clipper race. It must be declared ahead of time, so it must be declared just prior to the race that's about to occur. What it means is if you played your Joker, and it will get announced at the crew brief for that race, it means that your race finishing points will be doubled for that race. So if you finish in first place, instead of getting 11 points, you'll end up with 22 points if you played your joker. So it's quite a big difference there. If you finish in the final position, it would be 1 point normally, that'll be doubled to 2 points. So there's a big difference there, 22 is against 2. So you've got to decide carefully as a team when you want to play your joker. Just to reiterate, it's your race finishing points that are doubled, it's not bonus points. So scoring gate, ocean sprint, they remain the same. It's only race finishing points doubled. Okay, now the bad bit, penalty points. So we do occasionally have to allocate penalty points. This will be fully detailed in the sailing instructions as to how we do that. The penalties can be actually points-based as a deduction of points, or it can also be a time-based penalty. It'll all be decided by the race committee, again, not just me, I'm part of that committee. If it's a time-based calculation, it could be quite an involved calculation to arrive at that. Penalties are always more severe than the offence, if you like, the incident, and that's to just discourage further transgressions, really. So penalty points can be applied for all sorts of reasons. So for sail damage, okay, so if you accumulate sail damage up to a point, you'll get penalty points. Same for equipment damage. I want to make it clear at this point that no safety equipment, no damage to safety equipment is subject to penalty points. Infringement of the race rules, you get penalised for that, for gaining outside assistance. Actually, for not handing in specific Clipper race documentation and paperwork. So the safety documents that are important for us to complete, rig checks and safety checks, if they're not handed in on time, penalty points will be accrued. Same with passage plans, post-race declarations, for example. When you get to the dock at the end of a race, your post-race declaration has to be handed to the race office, or actually more importantly to Sarah. Remember what Robin said about Sarah? Okay, you've got to hand it in to Sarah within 1 hour of arriving at the dock. Otherwise, again, penalties. And the race committee will decide on all of these penalties. Okay, it's not me, but it is a final decision once given. So, away from penalty points, onto something much nicer, much better. You may be aware this is a new development for the race this time. We have, each team will have an additional qualified person, an AQP on board. So they will be on board to support the race skipper, to support you guys, and generally to enhance your experience. So after a very thorough recruitment process, very similar to the skipper's recruitment, we've selected our 11 AQPs that sat down here just behind the skippers. They just started with us a couple of weeks back, and again, they'll be full-time with us all the way up until race start and beyond. They've just come back from a week on a Clipper 70 actually, learning the training procedures and the systems, and they'll be working with the race skippers from now on. They're a pretty good looking bunch, aren't they? We're very happy to have you guys here, so good luck to you guys as well. So just to clarify, all our AQPs, they're all professionally qualified seafarers. They are fully employed by Clipper Ventures. They're on board each boat in the official capacity of mate. They're on board for the whole circumnavigation. And we're not looking to chop and change. They are absolutely the nominated person to take over the yacht if necessary. So if the skipper is incapacitated or can't do so, then the AQP is the legal and nominated person to take on that yacht and skipper that yacht back to a position where we can go out and join and bring the boat in safely. They're also the nominated safety officer on board the boats. They'll be present in your team briefings today, so you'll be able to meet them and they will introduce themselves to you. And they will be on board for all level 4 training groups, so you will get the chance to sail with these guys before you set off on the race. So it's a good development, very proud to have them. Good luck. Okay, very, very important, seamanship and safety. This is something that's important to all of us, and it should be. It should be at the forefront of everything we do at the Clipper Race. First and foremost, there must be a really healthy culture and a properly established culture of safety on board every team, okay, without excuses. It's, for example, clipping on. You guys, you've done some of your training. You will all know that you clip on in 15 knots of true wind or above. Okay, that's the threshold. Okay? You'll also clip on at night. You'll also clip on when reefed. You'll clip on when the skipper says so. And there's no excuses to that. Okay? And we want to keep that. We don't want to ever lose, that culture and that established system. I want all of you guys to take responsibility for yourselves, but and each other. Okay? I don't want you to rely on other people to do that. You need to take responsibility for yourselves. Clearly, your race skipper is in charge. Okay? They are responsible for everything that goes on that boat, but they need your help to maintain the safety culture. They're not going to do it on their own. Okay? And that's where you guys come in. So that goes for all of you here, all of you race crew watching on the live stream as well, and anybody that wants to race with us in the future. It's about taking responsibility for yourselves, for your own safety, and that of your fellow crewmen. We have mandatory refresher training. So when you get into port, if you're joining the clip race for the first time, you will take on a mandatory refresher training sail before you go out racing. It might be several months between finishing your level 4 training and joining the race. Okay? It's important. You'll be going out with your skipper. If you can't make the refresher training, or you don't fancy it, you don't like the idea of it, well, I'm really sorry, we're not going to allow you to race. It's important. Okay? I'm sure you understand. Man overboard drills. Or first off, preparation assessment. Anybody that's done training for us, you will have already gone through the preparation assessment. So when you arrive in a stopover and you join your team, the first time you join, you will have to pass the preparation assessment. Okay? It's nothing to worry about. It's not amazingly difficult or anything like that, but it does set a standard. And what it does require from you guys is a bit of effort and a bit of determination and persistence to pass that. Again, it's about taking responsibility, okay? Again, if you don't pass the clipper race crew assessment in port, we're going to give you 24 hours. If you don't pass the second time, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to allow you to race with us. Nothing to worry about, but please put the effort in. Man overboard training, so we do regular man overboard training drills. We've developed our drills from the first race. We're continually developing. We do that also at the beginning, prior to every race for each leg. So you will do a man overboard drill on your boat with your skipper and team before you set off on the first race of each leg. Okay? That'll be a tethered man overboard drill and a non-tethered MOB drill. And we get the race skippers to email us in the race office and let us know that that drill has been completed. And again, if that's not completed, then we will apply penalty points, okay? But I'm sure you can understand it's important with good reason. The other thing, personal AIS beacons there, so we brought these in on the last race. You'll all have a personal AIS beacon. It'll be fitted to your clipper race life jacket. And like all safety equipment, you will learn exactly how to operate the beacon, how to look after it. It'll have to be inspected by your skippers and your AQPs, but you guys inspect your own personal AIS beacons to make sure they're fitted correctly and to make sure they're fit for operation, fully functional. Okay? So there's a lot of things to think about. There's many, many more, but I'm trying to get across the safety and seamanship thing. Okay, the best possible thing you can go to sea with is a healthy dose of apprehension and a full respect for the oceans, for nature, and for the elements. So just to sum up, I want to leave you with one of Sir Robin's favourite quotes and phrases, and it's one that we all hold true. So the essence of good seamanship is safety, safety, safety. No excuses to that. Please, please, please don't ever forget it when you're racing with us and training with us. Alright, so that's it from me for now. I'm going to be back a little bit later. Thanks very much for listening. I'm going to now introduce you to Laura. So Laura is our Head of Partnerships, and Laura's going to talk to you about some of our race partners. Thank you very much.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much, Mark. Good morning, everyone. Great to see so many faces here today, and nice to see some of you in your Musto jackets. Before I get on to kind of the eagerly awaited updates, I would just like to welcome and thank our race partners who are in the room with us today. Hopefully some of you have a chance to go and get to know them, go and say hello and see what they're doing with the race. Okay, I'm going to start talking about our partner opportunities. So, you may have seen with some of the partners here today that they've been talking about ambassador roles. In the first week of June, we will be announcing the brand ambassador opportunities from our race partners. A brand ambassador, this role is open to all of our crew members, and they're usually offered by our fleet partners and by our official suppliers. So some partners, for example, are Dell, Marlowe, and Musto are all looking to recruit some brand ambassadors during the race. The standard package is usually based on crew members sending back content from the boats, so you can send back images, blogs, a whole range of kind of collateral for them to use in their marketing purposes, and usually in return you get a benefits package, so whether that's product or service or additional discounts or even cash. How to apply and all the info that you'll need to know about brand ambassadors will be communicated to you in the Clipper Race Crew News and on the Crew Hub. So beginning of June, keep your eyes out, and if you're interested in something a little bit different while you're on board, please have a look out for these offers and to get involved. Also, just a reminder, on your Clipper Race Crew Hub and in your crew newsletter that you should all be receiving, you do get access to exclusive and special discounts from our race partners. So please keep an eye out of those and see how you can utilise them. Team partners. So, there have been a few recent announcements over the last couple of weeks in terms of announcing the skippers that are going to be leading each of the teams. So you'll have seen the Chinese entries being announced and UNICEF. So for some of you, after your crew allocation today, you will also not only know your skipper and your AQP, you will also know what team partner you'll be representing. For the rest of you, over the coming weeks, the Clipper Race will be announcing the remaining teams. All conversations and negotiations are all in there, either complete or in the final stages, and it just means that we're working on dates for announcements that work for all parties. Once the team partner is confirmed, we will be working with the team to create your team kind of brand or identity. So we'll look at branding the boats, we'll look at your team kit, we'll share key messages for each partner so you can get to know them, and I'm sure you'll get to meet them at the race start so you can get to know them. The final thing on team partners, and the first nice announcement of the day, something that I'm personally really excited to announce. Today I'm actually going to announce our next team partner. So, nice announcement, drum roll for everyone in the room, please. Thank you. Team partner comes first. So, some lucky crew in the room today will be on this team. So, as a debut host port in the last edition, the Uruguayan city Punta del Este have seen the positive impact of the Clipper Race as just a host port, and they've decided they want to take that to the next level and see what some of the other destinations have done during the race and look for that kind of global and international trade, tourism and sailing development opportunity that having a team entry does for a destination. So, yeah, welcome to Punta del Este, and that obviously, for the clever ones in the room, means that the port at the end of leg one would also be Punta del Este. go sports. So the bit you've all been waiting for, route updates. However, I'm going to keep waiting a little bit longer because I don't want to steal Dale's thunder. I'm not going to reveal it all right now, but I am going to give you some context for what we're confirming and why we're making the announcements that we are today. We've said all along, well, I stood up at Crew Day back in January and said we're not going to hold announcements, and we really haven't tried to. But there's nothing like a deadline to make you get some announcements out nice and quickly. So hopefully you've seen over the last few days the announcements of the Whitsundays in Cape Town. But more importantly, we also appreciate that you guys really need to know some more information so that you can plan your race campaign and how you're going to kind of plan for the next 12 months or 11 months of your lives. Therefore, I'm pleased to say that ahead of the public announcements that will be going out next week and over the next few weeks, today we'll also be sharing with you the race start location, the race start date, as well as Mark said earlier, all key dates up to Panama, so leg 7. So lots of new information and hopefully critical for you guys to help your planning process. The reason we're not confirming dates for the remainder of the race is that the negotiations for the leg 8 stopovers are in the final throes, and therefore it'll be probably 3 to 4 more weeks before we share the final leg. But hopefully planning up to leg 7 will give you kind of a nice start. Okay. Once you have the race schedule, I'm sure you'll want to start planning. So I'm quickly going to touch on the stopover structure. Over the next few weeks, you will go through this in a lot more detail, but just to give you a top line to help you with the planning. So you have your arrival window. This is the day which the fleet should arrive in port, and prize giving traditionally is on the last day of the arrival window. This is then followed by a crew prep day. This is when you're trying to kind of look after your boat, do your maintenance, deep clean. After that, there will be an activation window. This is when kind of my team get involved and we look at what your partners may want to do with the race. So this could be from sailing days with clients to boat tours to tourism activities, lots of things that you guys will be hopefully want to get involved with, and your team will all be allocated an even amount of work across the race. During the activation window, usually at the very, very beginning, is your crew changeover day. So everyone will be communicated your changeover day. This is the date that if you are leaving or joining a leg, that you must be report for duty, essentially. Then we have another prep day, looking ahead to the next race, which usually has your crew brief on, and then race start, and off we go again. So it's kind of eat, sleep, sail, repeat all the way through the race in that order. So next up is our stopover guides. So to help you plan for each stopover, we will send you out crew specific stopover information. We generally try and do this every 8 weeks to 4 weeks prior to a stopover, and in that guide you'll have a few things that you can see on the screen here. So from addresses through to key events, where the laundry is, where an ATM is, if you need a taxi, what the telephone number is. We're really trying to give you kind of key information that will help you in the stopover and make it easy for you. We won't give you everything, because I'm sure you're all sensible enough to find out some of your own information, but all the key information that will help you plan. These also go to your race crew supporters, so while your loved ones at sea, your race crew supporters also get the same information, and you can also plan your stopover as well. With the announcement of dates and locations today, I'm sure you'll be keen to look at options for accommodation and flights. So I'm just pleased to let you know that over the next couple of weeks we will also be announcing ATPI Sports Events as the official travel partner of the race. So they are going to be developing a bespoke booking platform for our race crew to utilise. This will help you book marine fares, because you need that added flexibility and weight allowance for marine affairs. So over the next few weeks we'll be communicating the details of how you can get in touch with ATPI and the travel services that they can provide for you. Moving on slightly from partnerships, we're just going to touch on sustainability again. So first of all, those who remembered to bring their refillable water bottles, a big kind of congratulations, well done, and round of applause for you guys. So thank you for listening to us and doing that. On the same subject, I'm also pleased to confirm that we'll soon be launching the new Clipper Race water bottle made out of aluminium. I'm going to get told off getting this wrong. But yeah, so the new water bottle that's going to be given to all race crew ahead of race start. And then if anyone wants to purchase it for race crew supporters or friends and family, that will be an option as well. So this is the new water bottle and it'll be coming out shortly. As a quick update, we've started making ongoing changes to our daily working practices as a company. We use one of the 8 carbon neutral printing companies in the UK. We are introducing education packs on board about avoiding use of baby wipes. There's new kind of oil spill kits on board the boats. Lots of things small changes that as a collective will make a big impact. We're also championing our race partners and their efforts, such as we're moving to Marlow Ropes and Mooring line, which is made from 100% recycled plastic. Musto, who are using 50% less plastic for their packaging. And a new travel partner, ATPI, will give you the option to offset your carbon emissions with all your flights. So again, nothing really groundbreaking, but all things that are little steps that we can all make together to make a much bigger impact. We're also working with our host port partners to bring in an environmental impact event as part of every stopover. So this could be a beach clean, it could be an education session with kids at a local school, all different ways that we can offer opportunities to educate or give back to local communities from an environmental perspective. So, kind of on the same note as trying to help the planet, we also would like to introduce the official charity partner for the Clipper Race. So, UNICEF, I would like to welcome Harwin Gill, Challenge Events Officer from our charity partner, UNICEF UK. Wow, what an incredible sea of race crew and race crew supporters. The Clipper Race is a challenge of a lifetime, and UNICEF UK are so excited to be able to share that experience with you, not only as a charity partner, but now also as a team partner. So, as you know, my name is Harwin, and I manage the partnership with the Clipper Race from UNICEF UK. And it's been a pleasure to speak to so many of you this morning, and also over the past few months about your fundraising journey. But it's actually now, from this point, where your journey really begins. And this race edition for us is set to be the biggest yet, with you guys, the 2019-20 cohort, breaking through the £1 million fundraising mark as you sail across the ocean. So, a little bit about UNICEF UK. We work in 191 countries across the world, which means that we have the scope to reach even the most remote corners of the globe and the most vulnerable children. Did you know that a third of the world is actually made up of children? So there's no better time like now than to make that difference. And I'd love to give you a little snapshot into a few of the things that we work on behind the scenes. So as Laura mentioned, climate change is a huge issue. So tackling climate change. In the UK alone, 86% of the children are breathing in toxic air. UNICEF are campaigning and calling upon the government to take action for this and are moving towards trying to combat that with our toxic air campaign. Education. In 2016, UNICEF provided £15.7 million worth of books and materials to help children's education. And you can see a school in the box at the back from our stand as well. Water and sanitation. So our ambitions are huge, and by 2021, we're making a huge shift to tackle climate change in order to help an additional 60 million children across the world and give them access to clean and safe drinking water. And it doesn't stop there. You guys may have heard in the news about the recent cyclone to hit Africa. I'd like you to meet Carlota Rosario and her child Carlos Rosario. Many of their belongings were completely washed away by the devastating effects of the cyclone, and they were left with absolutely nothing. Unfortunately, more than 600 people have lost their lives. An additional 1.8 million people are in critical condition and need our care. And Mozambique has now also been hit by a second cyclone, Cyclone Kenneth, which has affected a further 70,000 people across that region. UNICEF's emergency response means that we have the ability to advance into the areas that need it the most, for example in this situation. providing them with health, nutrition, child protection, sanitation, and humanitarian supplies such as simple water purification tablets. So it really is no exaggeration to say that your fundraising really can make a difference and completely change the course of life for a child across the other side of the pond, or actually maybe even here in the UK. So help us make a difference. As you sail through the ocean on your big blue boat or perhaps on one of the other teams, remember why you chose to take part in the Clipper race and what brought you here today. Each of you might have embarked on a journey for a completely different reason, and we here at UNICEF would love to be able to share that experience with you. So we have dedicated our time to be able to work with you to reach our fundraising target of £400,000. And this year, each team will have a target of raising £33,000 to reach that target. We really believe that as a team you can do it, and we're here by your side. So, next steps. If you're interested, when you break out into your teams and you find out which teams you've been allocated to, speak to your skipper because they'll have a sign-up sheet that you can complete to register and just let us know that you want to fundraise. It's a bit different to the online form, so if you've completed the online form, just put your name down on that sheet anyway, just to make sure we don't miss you off any communications. And this year we're also introducing a role on board, the fundraising coordinator. So if you're interested in representing UNICEF UK for your teams to drive fundraising and really build that momentum, then speak to myself or your skipper or your AQPs and they can give you a bit more guidance and information on that. So Clipper Race. Will you help us create waves and change the lives of millions of children around the world to ensure that no child is left behind? Thank you. Okay, next up I would like to introduce Head of Communications, Carla Graves. Thank you very much. Thank you, Laura, and hello everyone. I'm Carla from the Communications team. If you haven't met me already, the team, Morgan, Catherine, Grace, Toyan and myself are the ones looking around today with the cameras, so please don't hide from us. Here's a mini film to give you a taste of how we'll be working with you all. By now you'll be familiar with the Clipper Race Crew News. Emailed to you and also found on the Crew Hub, this is our way of keeping you up to date with all the latest announcements, dates and key information you will need to get race ready. At cliparoundtheworld.com you'll find all of the latest news about the race. You'll have seen our recent skipper and partner announcements over the past few months. This is only going to ramp up and is a great way for your friends and family to keep up with the latest goings on. I know many of you already are keen followers on our social media accounts. We regularly post videos and stories on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and LinkedIn. and in China on WeChat and Weibo, to name just a few. If you haven't already signed up, please check them out. Feel free to share the posts on your own account. A great way to show off to those old school friends who are just sitting at home on their phones. What a way to boast about the awesome things you're about to achieve. We'll have onboard reporters on one or two of the boats at a time. They'll be capturing the race live, and this will form wrap-up videos, audio interviews, and maybe even the odd GIF. The videos will be hosted on our YouTube page, social media accounts, and on our website. We'll be keeping our skippers busy, asking them to send back daily blogs to us, and then we'll be posted on our website too. So they don't get all the glory, we want as many of you as possible to blog to. It will give the Clipper Race audience a real insight into daily life as you race around the world. I can promise your supporters will love keeping up to date with what you're up to, even if it is about the heads or when you last change your socks. You will also have the option to apply, as Laura mentioned, to be a brand ambassador and maybe blog for some of our partners. Another way for race crew supporters and our fans to keep up to date with all the action will be our race updates delivered directly into your inbox. Details on how to sign up for this email can be found on our website. One of the highlights of my team's role is getting the opportunity to take a rib out and wave in the winning team at each stopover. We'll be there with cameras to capture your cheers and celebrations, and I really can't wait to do so. No matter the time of day or night, we'll be there to greet you as you come alongside. We'll be ready for this Facebook Live so you can say hello to your loved ones back home. We'll also be interviewing many of you to find out about your race experiences, so please don't hide, we'll always find you. And these will be your mementos for years to come. The Clipper Race attracts media attention wherever it goes. The press love hearing about your stories, and we know from speaking to crew that these interviews really do inspire listeners and viewers to believe that maybe they can achieve something awesome too. And hopefully some of you are in the audience today can see yourselves on screen. Your local press wants to follow your adventures, so please do get in touch with us to tell us your story. The very fact that you're sitting in this room today means you are out of the ordinary, so please don't be shy. And later today, we'll get ready for your big moment. We'll be taking the ultimate family photo of you on the steps later. Okay. Just want to briefly mention satellite communications. Ahead of the race, you'll have the opportunity to sign up for onboard emails and voice calls. Personal emails will be given to you by your own smartphone or device. Voice calling will be via a dedicated crew satellite phone on board. Full instructions and costs will be detailed in the skipper packs given to you later today. And that's everything from me. Thank you for listening. I'm now going to pass you on to Deputy Race Director Dale Smith to talk you through the exciting race group. The exciting bit.
Hello everybody. It's fantastic to have so many of you here today. I'm the Deputy Race Director and I also skipped the Clipper 70 around the world in the last race. So I know well what you have ahead of you. You should be really excited. I'm going to talk to you today about the second most important thing that you want to hear, the race route. You'll have lots of questions in your head, and I'll attempt to answer most of them. It's an exciting route consisting of 8 legs, and I'm going to talk you through the big picture. And as Laura said today, I'm going to give you detail and race dates, including crew changeover ports, all the way up to and including Panama. So, to start off, I have an exciting announcement for you today. Race start. So, drum roll maybe. Keep it going. Race start location is St. Catherine Docks, London. Exciting? Alright, and the next vital piece of information, you'll be starting the race from London on the 1st of September. Okay, this is 3.5 months away. The time will fly, and this is where your great adventure begins. It will be an amazing day, a great experience, and full of emotion. It will be time to wave goodbye to friends and family. Departure will be on Sunday the 1st, with race start early the next morning off Southend Pier. This will be the start of the race of your lives. So, leg 1, as revealed, will be London to Punta del Este in Uruguay. It will be your first major ocean crossing of the Clipper race, and your first major milestone will be that of crossing the equator. Let's look at some detail of leg 1. Leg 1 will comprise of 2 races, with a stopover still to be confirmed in between. It's a total distance of 6,300 nautical miles, there we go, 6,300 nautical miles, with a duration of 30 to 36 days at sea. It's going to be vitally important to get a good start to your campaign, as this could ultimately be the difference between first and second overall. Your weather conditions, well, you're going to be into ocean weather systems once you're clear of the English Channel, and from the European westerlies, sliding into the northeast trades, and then the wind holes and squalls of the doldrums, before finally breaking through into the southeast trades of the southern hemisphere. Your race tactics, listen carefully. Well, tide will be king in the English Channel, so careful planning and preparation will ensure a fast passage towards Biscay. You'll be crossing the notorious Bay of Biscay, which can be flat calm or unforgiving and powerful. Your first key decision is going to be whether to pass east or west of the Canary Islands, or go straight through the middle, risking the wind shadows and acceleration zones. Your next decision is going to be where to cross the doldrums. We'll look at this in detail shortly. And it will be your first crossing of the equator, where you're bound to be visited by King Neptune. So be careful. And you'll be looking forward to a welcome in Uruguay, where all of the race team will be there to catch your lines. This will be your first crew changeover port. Okay, let's just look at, in some detail, at your first crossing of the equator and the doldrums. The doldrums is technically known as the Intertropical Convergence Zone. It's an area of low pressure near the equator, where the northeast and southeast trade winds converge. It's an area of extremely high temperature and very, very little wind, interspersed with erratic and sometimes violent thunderstorms. You may be aware that the doldrums swallowed the whole fleet during the 2013-14 Clipper race and kept them in its clutches for way longer than usual, and longer than any other previous Clipper race. This sort of irregular delay in racing affected all teams, causing most yacht arrivals to be heavily delayed. To avoid these heavy delays, we use a mechanism called the doldrums corridor. Let me explain a little bit. Here you see a typical track from crossing down from the north into the southern hemisphere, and here is the equator. A normal crossing point across the equator would be around 27 degrees west. Normally, during the summer months, the doldrums sit between 12 and 2 degrees north, around about there, and I know that's what the doldrums don't look like, but Mark Light drew this, so he seems to think so. So there's our doldrums corridor, where teams can decide to motor sail for a set distance in order to minimize the chances of being becalmed for long periods. In this example, your first opportunity to motor sail would be at 12 degrees north. Teams will only be allowed to motor sail for 6 degrees of latitude, which cannot take less than 60 hours. As you all know, 1 degree of latitude is 60 miles, so this equates to 360 miles of optional motor sailing. There we go. Another team may have good wind and choose to start motor sailing from a different position within the corridor. But again, only for a maximum of 6 degrees or 60 hours. And teams need to declare the intention to motor sail at least 3 hours in advance. So each team gets to decide, firstly, if they want to use the option to motor sail, and secondly, when and where to start motor sailing from. The actual position of the doldrums corridor will be finalised near the time due to the conditions. Okay, moving on. Leg 2, race 3, will be Punta del Este to Cape Town. It will be your second major ocean crossing of the race, and you get to sail across the South Atlantic Ocean. It's approximately 3,600 miles, which takes 15 to 19 days. Your weather conditions will be straight into the rolling swells of the South Atlantic, sailing with powerful and fast-moving weather systems, sometimes developing into storms. Your race tactics, quite simply, head east. It's always a good start. And run down the swells, surfing all the way, hopefully breaking some of your standing speed records. Equipment preservation is key, so look after your spinnakers especially, look after your boat. And you'll arrive into beautiful Cape Town to the stunning views of Table Mountain. This will be your second crew changeover port. Leg 3 consists of one race. It will be Cape Town to the port of Fremantle in Western Australia. You'll be sailing across the Southern Indian Ocean and into the Southern Ocean, rounding one of the 5 Great Capes, the Cape of Good Hope. This leg is around 4,750 nautical miles, taking you between 22 and 27 days. Your weather conditions, big, amazing downwind surfing conditions, getting much colder as the fleet heads south into the roaring 40s. Your race tactics will be possibly negotiating very, very fickle winds in Table Bay, heading south down towards the Cape of Good Hope and the notorious Gullis Banks, and then heading southeast, surfing the Southern Ocean swells towards Western Australia. You'll be arriving to a very friendly welcome in Fremantle, Western Australia. Again, a crew changeover. Next leg, leg 4. Will be Fremantle direct to the Whitsundays. This race will begin with a dive back into the Southern Ocean and end up in the warmth and the beauty of the Whitsunday Islands. During this leg, you'll get to round the second of the world's great capes, Cape Ewan. You will be spending Christmas and New Year at sea. Looking at some detail, this is approximately 3,400 nautical miles, 18 to 21 days at sea. You'll initially be sailing back into the Southern Ocean, so again, huge swells, powerful depressions, bringing strong westerly winds that are uninterrupted or affected by land masses, cold and wet conditions with lots of cloud but exhilarating sailing. Then, once rounding Tasmania, you'll be fighting the powerful, south-flowing East Australian current. Your race tactics will be to watch out for some wind holes if tempted in too close to the Great Australian Bight, where the distance may be shorter, but you could end up getting stuck. You'll navigate the East Australian current, playing your cards between being inshore or offshore of the East Australian coastline. One thing to be careful of is extremely aggressive southerly busters. And you'll arrive to an incredibly warm welcome into the port of Airlie Beach in the stunning Whitsundays. This is again the end of a leg and a crew changeover port. Okay, leg 5. Leg 5 consists of multiple races. Firstly, Whitsundays to Sanya in China. This is around 4,300 nautical miles, 23 to 28 days. It'll be tough upwind conditions to start off with, and getting warmer and lighter winds towards the equator. It'll be typical doldrums conditions, and again, you'll be transiting a doldrums corridor, and if it's your first time, you'll be getting a visit from King Neptune. You'll experience tropical temperatures and then very light conditions for a time before picking up the northeast winds in the South China Sea. It'll be very, very tactical racing through many different weather conditions. Light wind sailing and tactics past the remote communities of Papua New Guinea, full-on concentration will be required. You get to arrive and experience the tropical holiday resort of Sanya, the first of our Chinese stopovers. The second race of leg 5, race 7, will be Sanya to a Southeast Asian port yet to be confirmed. This will be a short race, 650 to 750 miles, with 4 to 5 days at sea duration. This will be an exciting tactical sprint where you and your teams can push hard to bag some extra points. This Southeast Asian port will be a short pit stop of 2 to 3 days. Carrying on with leg 5, race 8, will then be the Southeast Asian port to Zhuhai, the newest of our Chinese stopovers. Again, shortish race, 550 to 650 miles, 3 to 4 days at sea, and this will be another short, sharp, intense race. You can be assured of a welcome, a great welcome, into our new and exciting Chinese location. Moving on. So, after another crew changeover in Zhuhai, leg 6 will begin with you racing north to Qingdao. This will be a race of extremes, from the warmth of Zhuhai to the extreme cold of Qingdao, where it sometimes snows. It's certainly the coldest I've ever experienced on board a yacht. That's true. It's giving you some detail, 1,350 miles, around 8 to 10 days. It's, as I said, it's a race of extremes, starting off in the warm climate of Zhuhai and ending up in 0 to minus temperatures in Qingdao. Starting off with light headwinds, getting colder the further north the fleet tracks, and then strong upwind conditions and large confused seas off Taiwan. Very, very cold up to Qingdao. Have I said that enough times? and often very poor visibility close to the finish, with the possibility of snow and ice. Okay, I think you get the point. This is probably the hardest leg to pack for. An interesting point about this leg, you'll experience the largest fishing fleets in the world, and you really do have to see it to believe it, and even then you won't believe it. So keep a good lookout. You'll arrive in Qingdao to a spectacular welcome in front of thousands of spectators, and you really will be treated like heroes and celebrities. And this race will be a great preparation ahead of the North Pacific. So, here's something juicy. Leg 6 then continues with the big one, Qingdao, China, across the mighty North Pacific Ocean, the largest expanse of water in the world. And I can announce that your destination in the USA, I think we need another drum roll, will be Seattle. Okay, this is literally fresh off the press, and there'll be a public announcement in due course. This is the leg that will probably make you the most nervous, but will definitely give you the greatest satisfaction. Just looking at it, it's a whopping 5,600 nautical miles with 25 to 30 days at sea. Now listen carefully, it will be very cold and grey. Little sunshine, downwind conditions, initially from strong northeast winds, large and confused seas around southern Japan, huge waves, very strong winds and powerful storms, massively exciting surfing conditions, some of the best sailing you'll do in your lives. Race tactics, well, sprint down to the southern tip of Japan, then negotiate the notorious east running current, nicknamed the Black Snake. It's a favourable current, but at the cost of extremely confused and steep seas. This is the race all of you and every sailor wants in their logbooks. It's the largest ocean on the planet. You'll be crossing the international date line and surfing at terrific speeds up to 30 knots and beyond, 36. Arriving in the port of Seattle after the grueling Pacific Ocean crossing and a huge sense of achievement. This will be the end of leg 6 and another crew changeover. So leg 7 consists of 2 races. Firstly, Seattle, USA to Panama. This often has lighter downwind conditions and can be extremely tactical. So, down to Panama is 4,200 nautical miles, duration of 25 to 30 days. Weather conditions, possibly breezy downwind conditions leaving Seattle, getting progressively warmer as you head south along with the winds becoming lighter and even more fickle. Very light winds as you approach South America and getting very, very hot. Race tactics, well, the big question will be inshore or offshore. Inshore, the current will probably be favourable, but the winds could be light and unpredictable. Further offshore, current won't help as much, but probably more predictable wind. This race is likely to go down to the last few days. It'll be very light winds close to the finish that can actually die off altogether. One thing about this leg, you'll also realise how jolly long the coast of Mexico is. And you'll arrive in Flamenco Island Marina, Panama, to prepare for your canal transit. Let's just look at the Panama Canal briefly. It's a definite highlight of the race. It's a magnificent feat of engineering. It has large caiman crocodiles basking on the shores, so no swimming. We don't want any single-handed yachtsmen. And this is where you say goodbye to the Pacific Ocean and hello to the Atlantic Ocean. This is what it looks like on the chart. Interestingly, if you look at that, you actually travel from east to west when you cross into the Atlantic. It's about a 45 nautical mile transit, and it's not a race. A possible transit is completed in 12 hours, and there's also a possibility of having to anchor within the canal overnight. So, carrying on further, leg 7, race 12 will be Panama to the east coast of the USA, and you'll be racing into the Atlantic again. This leg is approximately 2,000 nautical miles, with 11 to 14 days at sea. The weather conditions, well, upwind through the Caribbean, favourable current, but with wind against it, giving bouncy conditions. A slight possibility of early season tropical storms developing. Your race tactics, very tactical upwind sailing through the Caribbean, making the most of the Gulf Stream current, helping you up to 5 knots. Things to be careful of, beware of powerful squalls, especially at night. You'll be crossing the Bermuda Triangle, so I'll be regularly counting boats. Please don't get lost. And the east coast of the USA will be the final crew changeover. So, moving on to leg 8, the final leg of the clipper race. Leg 8 consists of 2 or 3 races with stopovers still to be confirmed. And it will be your final major crossing of the North Atlantic Ocean. 3,000 to 3,400 nautical miles. This may be the final leg, but you still have to cross the North Atlantic, so don't get complacent. The weather conditions, well, there's a strong possibility of thick fog around the Grand Banks, cold and wet, grey skies, North Atlantic depressions as they roll across towards Europe, creating large Atlantic swells. Your race tactics will be to head north to pick up the favourable North Atlantic current, and to get onto the correct side of the large North Atlantic low-pressure systems, and you're off. You'll be passing north of the Titanic's final resting place to search out the exhilarating downwind conditions to propel you all the way across to Northern Europe. Wherever you finish, you'll be guaranteed with a fantastic welcome and some generous hospitality. So the final race of your round the world adventure will be Northern Europe back to London. This race is still massively important, as you may find that final podium positions may still be at stake. It will be around 800 to 1,000 nautical miles with approximately 5 days at sea. It will be typical UK weather conditions with depressions, fronts or high pressure systems. Your race tactics will be tactical racing all the way due to varied weather and strong tidal streams, and it will require maximum effort for your final few days. This race could very well decide the overall winner of the Clipper 2019-20 Around the World race. This is where you will cross your outbound track, officially tying the knot, and would have completed your circumnavigation of the globe. We are looking at a finish in early August 2020. And then you will arrive at race finish in London, the final homecoming to a hero's welcome. You will have completed part of or all of the circumnavigation of the world and experienced an amazing adventure. It will definitely be the race of your life. Thank you for listening. We've just been around the world in about 20 minutes. If you see me walking around, please do not hesitate to ask anything about the race. Any of our team will be happy to talk with you. I'd also like to wish all of the skippers good luck today. It's a big day for you guys as well. Now, just before we get to the really exciting part of the day, the reason you're all here, I'd just like to hand back over to Sir Robin. He has a few very important words for you. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Dale. You can see quite an exciting route, and I'm sorry we can't fit it all in, but it would be to your advantage when you wish to do it. Now, racing around the world is not easy. It's challenging and not without risks. That is why more people have climbed Mount Everest than have sailed around the world. An amazing fact to think about it. And we do everything we can to make you safe and ready for this. We heard earlier that some of you still need to sign up for Part 4. If you don't have it, if you haven't done it, you're not going. It's as simple as that. I'm not disking you, and I'm not disking your fellow crew members, because you haven't done that final 5 minutes of training. So let me just make that very clear from this point. We have very high standards, as you're beginning to realise, and you have a part to play in this. We can't do it without your commitment, and you've got to get committed to the training. As I said earlier, it's not just for your own safety, it's your fellow crew members. You've no right to let them down. Now, whilst we're all here, and this is probably the last time I'll see you all together before probably the prize giving at the end of the race, because in the meantime we'll be seeing each other at race starts. I just want to explain something, just so there's no misunderstandings. In the event of an incident on any of the boats, we immediately close down communications from all the boats. There's a very good reason for that. We need to find out what the facts are from the skipper, who's probably dealing with the incident to start with. Once we've got the facts, we'll prepare a press release and release it. We're not idle in that time. If someone's injured on one of the boats, our team will phone the next of kin immediately and tell them. And to avoid any misunderstandings, we'll also phone the next of kin of all the other people on that boat. So if you don't hear anything from us, don't worry. Nothing to worry about. We will get in contact with those it's most important to talk with. Now, there's a reason for this. In my experience, one of the founders of the Navy's Public Affairs branch, dealing with casualties in Norway and places like that, we very quickly learned we've got to hang on to the story before the media got it. Because once the media got it, it will get distorted. If we allow everyone to talk to home, mum talks to aunt, talks to a friend, talks to a journalist, next thing our phones are ringing, you've lost a boat. We haven't lost a boat, but that's what they're saying. Our phones get jammed, we need them. It also sends a distorted message out, and that causes all friends and families to start worrying about their own loved one. Well, I just don't have it. And that's why we take charge of it. Normally, we will get a press release out within 2.5 to 3 hours. So everyone will then know what happens, and then we reopen communications. But I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we control the story before the media get hold of it and start distorting it. And I think you'll all understand why we've got to do that. I'll just make one point. If anyone has a satellite phone and uses it to tell that story while I'm still preparing it, you're out. Your feet won't touch the ground at that next port. You'll be off the boat and gone. Because I won't have it. You're letting everyone down and frightening all the friends and families of everyone in the race at that time. And I just won't stand for it. So, fair warning. Go along with my rules. We're very experienced in this. We've done it before. We have a well-tried plan. We implement immediately. And we go straight into operation. But we've been through it. We've practiced it. Sadly, we've had to use it once or twice. But it's a good plan, and it means that we can get the least information to you as fast as possible, let you know what's really happening, not what some journalists have dreamt up. Now, we've not very much more to say to you really, but we don't want accidents. We don't want any mistakes. And obviously you're training very, very hard to ensure we don't have any mistakes, aren't you? Louder! Thank you! I can see you're all running through your knots. Well, here's the test kit. You can't do your knots. You're not going on the boat till you can. And if I catch you not being able to do any of the knots we've told you, you will sit down and do me 10 in a row. And if you make a mistake at 9, we go back to 1. I'll spend all day, or I'll substitute someone even worse than me, like Mark or Dale, to substitute for me to make sure you do. I'm joking, but I'm not. It is absolutely important, vitally important. You can learn to do these things instinctively, called muscle training. Just keep practicing. You know, if you're at home doing the washing up, which I'm sure you all do at times, in between each plate going into the washing machine, you have one, time only. But just keep practicing. And it is for your safety. Well, this is where your campaign starts. And it's all becoming very real now. So now's the time you really have to start focusing and getting your training. Just a few things I want from you. One, I think I made it pretty clear. You really train hard and learn as much as you can about the sea and about your boat. It's not just to make you safer, it's so you get more enjoyment out of the experience. 2, I want you to learn every aspect of what goes into crossing an ocean on the boat. It isn't just sitting there, steering or watching a winch. It's everything else that goes into getting a boat across an ocean. The feeding, the cooking, getting the hours of work worked out so you can get some sleep, the repairs to sails which you have to learn to do, making sure nothing's going wrong, checking the boat for chafe, shackles coming loose. That's all part of being a proper seaman. Because at the end of this race, I want all of you to be able to go to any yacht club in the world and say, I'm looking for some sailing. And they say, what have you done? And you say, well, I've done the clipper race. And they say, well, you must be good then. Now that reputation is in your hands. It's good for me, it's good for you, it's good for my skippers. So please take that very seriously and learn as much as you can. Thirdly, I want this to be the great experience you are hoping it will be, and we know from past experience it will be. And I want you all to be able to say at the end of this race, or the leaping you do, that's the best thing I've done in my life so far. Because then I know I've widened your horizons. And you go on to reach more great adventures with your lives and live life to the full. Paint your life in bright colours. You've only got one. Don't use pastel shades. Be bright about it. Finally, look after yourselves. Look after your skippers and mates. I do want them all back, please. And please don't damage my boats. I want them all back. And now the moment you've been waiting for. Find out with whom you're going to share the next 15 months of your lives in a lot of cases. Good luck. Come on, come out of the bed this week.
Okay, thank you, Simon. Some very important advice there. Dale, we need to go and practice our knots. Okay, so we're almost there, aren't we? Race for allocation. We're very close now. Before we go on to that, I guess I better introduce the important people to you, right? Okay, so we've got 11 individuals here. They put in so much time, effort, blood, sweat, tears. They're a really great bunch, and they're raring to go. I'm really excited to meet you guys. So we are extremely proud, very happy to introduce the race skippers to you. I'm going to invite them all to come up on stage now. So first off, let's give it up for Chris Rhodes. First, and I'm sure he's hoping to keep that position. Okay, second to the stage, big welcome for Mark Burks. Alright, third up to the stage, please welcome David Inman. That's David, otherwise known as Wavy from South Africa. We are next up on stage. Big round of applause for Ben Keach. Okay, next up, lots and lots of clipper race experience. Big cheers, big applause to Seamus Clark. Okay, another race skipper from South Africa. They're taking over, aren't they? Please welcome Nick Lewis. Okay, we're going to break the South African thing. Let's go to Spain. And let's welcome Geronimo Santos Gonzalez. Okay, next up to the stage, really big welcome, John Dickon. Okay, thank you, Josh. Next up, big cheers, Mike Irish. Okay, two to go. It's great that you still don't know who you're getting. I love this. Okay, next up the stage, again, lots of double race experience. Please welcome Yacht. Okay, and finally, to make up our 11 race skippers, please welcome Ian. Okay, there we have a very good looking bunch as well, aren't they? They are. Alright, so this is the moment you guys have all been waiting for. This is what we've been working towards. This is time for the race crew allocation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to invite each skipper. They're going to walk up to the far left in there, and they're going to read out their team names. Just to keep suspense, they're going to read out half of their team. And then they're going to sit back down, and then move on to the next skipper. And once we've been through all 11 skippers and they've read out half of their team, then we're going to go back to Chris. And if we've got time, we'll read out the second half of the team names. Okay, so I think we're ready. You guys ready? Yes. Sure? Okay, let's get on with this. I'm going to invite Chris Brooks, take the stage.
Good afternoon, Al. It's a pleasure to be here and announce the first half of Team Chris. So, without further ado, the first person can continue on, Donna von Trump. Michelle Eisenborn, Bertrand Hold, George Dawson, Jodie Shaw, Kevin Brown, Philip Siddle, Keith Baker, Matt Springett, Tony Brown, David Phelps, Anthony Garcia, Sean Ryan, Diane Morrison, Peter Gleave, Martin Storbley, Carolina Iceberg, Kerry Dewberry, Guy Dazelle, Joanne Ewer, Duke Dippenbrook, Thomas Grant Mitchell, Patrick Onieri, Martin Mills, Lisa Sumter, Julie Hood, Zhuang Wen, Gua Yanzi, Mai Min Swen, Li Bing, Liu Jiang, Zhang Yi, Luo Zhou, and Zhang Shen. That concludes my first half.
Okay, next up, first half of this team, let's have Mark Burks.
Sorry guys, just be careful, there's lots of tables here. Rather you go that way.
The first half of Team Mark is Paul Mascar, Mark Southey, Paul Widowson, Benjamin Geifel, Laurence Vignon, Karen Smith, Tom Sloan, Brad Howie, Ines Suarez, Charles Zeman, Rachel Burgess, Michael Crandall, Michael Rickman, David Lofer, David Keeley, Dean Jones,
Oliver Rich, Sophie Owls, Anna Quintas, Guido Rispoli, Nigel Jackson, Chris Reed, Asha Mahmood, David Carroll, Justin Orton, Gareth Duncan, Stephen Pomfret, Jasmine Morris, Melanie Morris, Stephen Lavery, Jorg Shamoun, Alexis Grennan, Colin Tickle, and Shane O'Neill.
Okay, you guys are very quiet, you must be excited. Okay, next up, let's have Team David.
No, it's not daunting up yet, really. Good afternoon, everybody. Team David. First up, Ronald Jackson, Callum Brown, Candela Duel, Heather Broadbent, Trevor Harry, Philip Wan, Maya Gray, Jeff Gill, Adam Cunnington, Susan Perk, Andrew Cohen, Christopher Hollier, Glenn Hollowell, Joshua Smith, Nayela Ofor, Mark Geller, Michelle Teasling, Chris Carroll, Maya Ilya, Caroline Spike, Dennis Wolstenholm, Stephen Matala, Richard Wilson, Paul Riggs, Glenn Hayward, Derek Bowen, Jerry Glover, Adrian Nakic, Michal Maburak, Jackie Davis, Ellen O'Brien, Simon High, Greg Fieldwick, and Janice Haynes.
So next up, 50% of the team from Team Ben.
Afternoon, is everyone excited? So, a little bit like bingo, isn't it? So, on my team, first up, John Palmer, Marcus Cox, Timothy Morgan, Michael Coleman, Kiki Ketunen, Dawn Widdowson, Christoph Tischenchen, John Hawkins, Arvin Villette, Peter Campbell, Mauricio Concha, Mark Edmonds, Brian Field, Melanie Smith, Michelle Sunt, David McDonald, Tom Hubbard, Jane Lever, Lizzie Grimm, Adele Ford, Alexandra Renard, Abdel Hamid Abu Yosef, Leo Jackson, Rob Morris, John Hoskin, Gregorio Concha Toro, Nuno Denise, Mark Sillers, Queenie Wang, Jay Mavori, Timothy Gillette, Doug Wang, Kurt Hubert, and finally Paula Johnson.
Thank you, Ben. Next up, we've got first of the team, Team Seamus.
So, good afternoon. So we'll just get straight into it. First up on Team Seamus is Barry Wellsford, Afshin Ahmadian, Rick Whitehouse, Oliver Fort, Carl Forsander, Liz Copeland, Bruce Davidson, Susan Baldwin, Vadens Naunek, John Martin. I like you really, John. Frederick Warringer, Richard Clements, Rachel Leader, Ed McSweeney, Tommaso Scarpa, Tomasz Pawlowski, Harman Schrag, Kirsty Bozeman, Christian Kinatz, Clyde Bennett, Michelle Vigneault-Coutts, Luke Patching, Chris A, Colin Tully, Chris Saunders, David Paul Fitzpatrick, Trish Lipiat, Bei Wei, Feng Jia Sheng, Huan Jiong, Huang Li Juen, Zhang Minhao, Lian Dan, and finally for the first half, Scott Draper.
Okay, that's 5 down, 6 to go. Let's hear it from Team Nick.
Okay, so these games skipper's think Nick was the best crew. I know I've got the best. Catherine Haig, Trevor Thurlow, David Fortune, Ina Baum, Robert Worthington, Nassor El Maruki, Tristan Alexander, Christopher Serrata, Bernard Tomasini, Magnus Irvin, Robert East, Pat Turner, Alex Bixley, Melody Schaefer, David Deasley, Ian Atwell, Gordon Graham, Anthony White, Sophie Cross, Rain Drescher, Tracy Corkett, John Mart, Don McQueen, Paul Davison, Christopher Travis, Karen Brooks, Chu Jamin, Chao Min, Chao Shiji, Ping, Han Yue, Mao Yi, Lin Tang, and Shao Yuan.
Next up is Team Geronimo.
Good afternoon, everybody. So for Team Geronimo, we have Mary Grant Jones, Anne Hoff, Nigel Gale, Andrew Henry, Antonio Palacio, Andres Naranjo, George Stutman, David Whitkins, Clara Carrington. that's the Jesus Cabedo, Tono Pena, vamos! Kathy Casciala, Helen Thompson, Joseph van der Hoek, Hannah Rumble, Fiona Mitchell, Diego Rodriguez, Stephen Smith, Graham Westlake, John Valentine, David Hope, David Peacock, Ben Jones, Susan Waters, Stephanie Reeves, Dorothy Holland, Luis Garelli, Esteban Mazzoni, Darwin Correa, Luis Ugina, Raúl Poller, Aloisio Xavier, Diego Palacios, and Rahani Karuturi.
People know the next up to the microphone. It's our Team Josh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, start with Jackie Webb, Jerome Riga, Michael Furby, Philip Hughes, Jacqueline Cavanagh, John Broomfield, Jim Day, Emmanuel Yersin, Jonathan Broom, Gerard Doherty,
Yes!
Frank Cronin, Diane Turkington, Michael Satir, Melanie Curry, Tim Burke, Ivan Palmer, Ian Wang, Andrew Edwards, Mark Pollard, Julianne Kerr, Jesse Sesgo, Dominic Dow, Timothy Channing Pierce, James Cubitt, Anne Tremou, Jade Hughes, Neil Young, Adam Plank, Lorraine McClear, Gerard Smith, Donald Kavanagh, Brendan O'Cavan, Aileen Croft, and Jane Ross.
So 3 slippers to go for the first half of the team names. Next up, it's Team Mike.
So, for the first half of Team Mike, we've got James Anderson, Francesca Jones, Jenny McDonald, Brian McNeasley, Thierry Meehan, Nicholas Whittle, Richard Birchall, Jonathan Wellington, Rob Stewart, Nick Hussey, Joanne Court, Tim Lapage, Elaine Lee, Helen Vandenberg, Go Yu Gao, Philip Gabriel, Joanne Rooney, Kirsten Dietz, Joseph Fuchs, Joe Warnes, Richard Hutchins, Tom Bedford, familiar sound, Simon Fletcher, Michael Carotto, Josh Ainsworth, Greg Oliver, Vince Pearson, Brian Anderson, Khalad Patrice, Brooke Ferguson, Trevor Allman, Chris Jack, Carola Gumlich, and David Watkin. That's the first half of the team.
Thank you very much, Mike. Next up, Team Guy.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the first half of Team Guy is Cecilia Henry Rotberg, Dario Manuel Schwindener, Kevin Smith, Dave Boutel, James Feldkamp, Bettina Mead, Anthony Suter, Saad Al-Alami, Bruce Steenson, Ian Hatfield, David Walbank, Graham Clack, Oliver Ford, Dorothy Bell, Alexander Roskestad, Louise Roy, Katie Husband, Stephen Babry, John Earnshaw, Nathan Hadfield, Netza Mouse, Stuart Mace, John Sears, Rick Schwab, David Raymond Fitzpatrick, Robert Fournier, Robert Matthews, Stephen Sampson. He gets an upgrade. Stephanie Stewart, Kate Pierce, Mark Porter, Chanel Dumas, Stephanie Cardwell, and Alan Bateman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guy. Finally, for the first half, Team Ian.
Good afternoon. Feel free to cheer very loudly. First on the list is Holly Williams, Daniel Bodie, Danny Lee, Alex Cass, Angie Simpson, Sandra Marichal, John Dawson, Jeffrey McGilvery, Keith Williams, Keith Winstanley, Joseph Govia, Elizabeth Wilson, Anthony Botha, Mike Willis, Sue Woodcock, Ursula Marin, Sophie Barrow, Thomas Henkelman, Abdul Hagar, Steve Watson, Sebastian Ramsey, Bruce Anderson, Christian Andrew, Lawrence Dowdall, John Dillon, Ian Gilbert, William Cool, Jeremy Whedon, Sarah Hill, Mario Rodriguez, Bo Bidwell, Dermot O'Keefe, Sarah Cubitt, Giacomo Tramatoi.
That's the first 50% for the team names. Sorry, what's that? Sorry? Oh, we've run out of time. We'll have to email the rest of these to you, I'm afraid. Sorry, guys. Just kidding. Let's have the second half. Let's have the completed lineups for the teams. So, second half of Team Chris.
Where's he gone? The DJ guy.
So it's an honour to finish just ahead of the other speakers. Okay, the second half of Team Chris is Liu Xing, Zhang Yu, Sun Zimong, Zhou Dongying, Wang Luquan, Guan Yadi, James Lodge, Janine Korkiulu, Susan Halcombe, Trisha Granger, Paul Mulkey, Jeff Shukas, John Layden, Richard Clark, Jared Hart, Andrew Long, Jonathan Ratner, Vivian Miko, Jeffrey Wode, Bridget Pugh, June Tate Gaines, David Roworth, Henning Lees, Russell Thirsk, Ed Mayo, Michael Rafferty, Sarah Bjornlin Needham, and lastly, but not least, Joel Lambert.
Team Chris. Let's move on and hear the rest of Team Mark.
Right, the second half of Team Mark. Gian Domenico Zappa, Angela Penswick, David Peebles, Stefano Penn, Ian Griffiths, Lona Vinogradova, Hank Murray, Wayne Dominic, Julia Tannheiser, Hisham Tari, Neil Ashurst, James Israel, Charles Gardner, Julian Wood, Will Micklemore, Michael Holmes, Elizabeth Cave, Louise McElvey, Jodie Robinson, Arthur Dietrich, Clive Delacour, John Shepherd, Smita Sinha, Fiona Griffiths, Wolf Benfeld, Andrew McElrath, Kate Longbottom, Matthew Thomas, Renata Coelho, and Lucio Corchulo.
So that completes the lineup for Team Mark. So next up, let's have Team David.
Second half, Alistair Wankling, Tracy Thomas, David Derby, Saul Tomlin, Yolana McIntosh, Michael Cream, Fergus MacDonald, Miles Summerfield, Arthur van Broekelen, Sheila Lee, Michael Gannon, Steve Kalen, Sean Collins, Keith Marshall, Amanda Daniels, Francesca Wonders, Katie Jackson, Lee Callahan, Yvette Jones, Jason Mangan, Damien Onspal, Anders Angin, Andrew Orworth, and Alessandro Palaro. And I believe there's 37 of us here today. Well done.
Thank you. That completes the lineup for Team David. So let's hear the second half for Team Ben.
Very tough if you're the last person, isn't it? Okay, so second half of my team. Emma Winchester, Alec Pitbull, Nicholas Burrell, Ryan Dawson, Melissa Yeager, Jimmy Firstman, Stephen Greer, Suzanne Veal, Glenn Hedges, Mark Little, Lauren Ward, Sarah McBride, Stephen Higgins, Melanie Brookman, Baptiste Glitting, Karina Spitzkopf, Francesca Fowler, Sarah Rees, Ashley Clark, Carsten Senka, and Dahi McGrath, Bernie Prior, Mary King, and finally Jose Sedino.
Thank you very much, Ben. So let's now hear the second half of Team Seamus.
Okay, so second half, joining me on board is Liu Yan,
Tian Shui Yao, Sun Jing, Wong Wong Wei, Wong Long, Shu Shung Da, Shu Yui, Ye Yuan, Li Meng, Lui Jiapeng, Guan Si, Jue Tian, Dennis Nikolaitsev, John Donovan, Mary Ferrer, Laura Giles, Anders Servin, Paul Stokes, Richard Laver, Roberto Piccolo, Nikki Sloan, Eve Blatchford, Scott Waters, Tammy Hurst, John Robertson, and Stephen Weston.
Thank you, Seamus. So next up, Team Nick.
Okay, so I think if I read really quickly, maybe we'll get ahead of Team Chris. Okay, so Lu Mengguo, Yang Yang, Wu Shouguo, Li An, Wu Hongfa, Luo Zhuoxian, Ding Kai, Wu Kefu, Chen Jieqi, Qi Yunfei, Rebecca Brody, Sukarna Belhaj Sulami, Callum Leach, Charles Abbott, Harriet MacDonald, Steve Ryman, David Duncan, Muriel Charlotte, Chris Ball, Duncan Paul, James Agate, Jerry Stokes, Beatrix Goltz, Dane Criskin.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Next up, I'll wait for the animation, it's Team Geronimo.
And for the second part of Team Geronimo, you can be a tiny bit louder. So please continue to read. Johannes Witt Dorin, Jose Muro, Hilary Cornish, Vincent Sorel, María Begoña de la Serna López, David Lee, Jim Lee, Alan Lloyd, Nick Binks, Bruce Robertson, Ingo Borman, Henry Bennett Gould, Benjamin Stokes, David Greene, Cristina Alonso, Angela Davis, Philip Clepin, Brendan O'Toole, James Thomas, Linda Percy, Natalie Sandoval, Charles Freeman, Nigel Gambley, Kate Cowells, Joanna Mann, Coray Ozcaplan, and Donald McNichol. Thank you.
Okay, that's Team Geronimo. I can tell they're going to be in trouble already, aren't they? Okay, next up, let's hear from Team Josh.
Hello again. So to start, Terry Fisher, David Hodgson, Lawrence Hall, Stephen Taylor, Shiham Al-Harbi, Meta Hanlon, George Blakeway, Martin Ritchie, I've lost my spot, there we go, Martin Ritchie, Christoph Urbanski, Sam Carpenter, Sam Osborne, Ashley Murdoch, Blair Gosselin, Heike Capi, Charlotte Kelly, James Wise, Nuno Souza, Amir Alone, Robert Howard, John Borland, Sandra Shepherd, Amy Daniel, Estelle Newton, Muriel Justin, Anthony Borg, Alan Rushbrook, Simon Baker, and James Heatherton. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, let's see the final team names for Team Mike.
So, second half of Team Mike, Andrea Crosspoli, J. Katerina Capel-Passia, I'm quite sure that pronunciation is not really good. Clayton Tam Backis, Liz Perry, Risky Clark Hall, Adrian Corney, Katia Mavrak, Tim Devine, Sean Thompson, Charlie Dewhurst, Martin Dawes, David Rank, Kate Griffiths, Deborah Negan, Derek Kerr, Deborah Dullen, Natasha O'Brien, Daniel Johnson, Corinne Kahadam, Frank Hoogland, Timothy Selby, Kate Holly, Hans Peter Bishmiller, Alina Zaragona, Doreen Seeger, Sergei Fedorov, thank you, Barry Howard, and that's the balance of the team.
Okay, next up, final team lineup for Team Guy.
So the second half of Team Guy, we have David Collins, Ahmed Zarei, David Tom, Patricia Dale, Ellen Brown, thank you, Ellen, David Gately, Lucia Kufova, James Bashel, Kirk Westergaard, Louise Andors, Caesar Adina, Murray Hoyt, Guy Duggan, there's only two of us and we're both on the same team, Teresa Cadwallader, Charlie Bolton, Patrick Angern, Will Polish, Imogen Humphreys, Chris Stanish, Marie O'Reilly, Serge Bonnell, Anthony Raymond, Rob Pulbrook, Thomas Werner Lautenbach, Daniel Cox, Jane Stringer, and Lawrence Tweed. Thank you.
Okay, this will complete the lineup, so I'm sure you probably know who you are, right? Okay, let's hear the final lineup for Team Year.
Kevin Gogol, Lindsay Rowley, Dina Stolzer, Jane Raptor, Christian Dahlstrom, Gareth Davies, Mita Clemmer, Andrew Toms, Anne Elizabeth Serringstad, Robert De Gidlow, Tim Chappell, Mark Overmars, Jacinta Grace, Karen Corley, Christopher Maxwell, Ken Anderson. Oh, there's only a few left. Hopefully your name's in it. I know the office are nervous as well. Shanil Patel, Graham Scarborough, Thomas Owen, Joanne Shohan, Kirsty McGuire, Michelle Nugent, Stephen Clark, Amisha Hopkins, Talmo Valino, Sarah Warby, Sheila Richards, Timothy Moody, Tom Fisher, and a massive cheer from everyone for Zhao Tangji.
We have a big card, didn't we? Really well. Very nice. Okay, that's Crew Allocation complete, but I've got an important question. So is there anybody in the audience that signed a contract, returned it to us, and paid, and not been allocated? If there are, or if there is, please put your hand up now. Negative. He's joking with us. Nobody? Well done, guys, we nailed it. Well done. And top of that, we should have our round. Okay, so what happens now? So the Crew Allocation is complete. Thanks very much for your patience. So each team now will be led off to your individual breakout rooms, race currently. So we've got ushers still over at the back of the side of the auditorium there. They're going to hold up your team name, okay? So once I finish, you just gravitate towards your team name there. The skippers will follow once you've got all of you together. Then we'll go to your breakout rooms. Your breakout rooms are up there. But you will be ushered there, don't worry. You will be given a final call at 16:45, 1700. You will then move out of your breakout rooms to the front of the guild hall and the steps, and that's where we'll gather for our mass team photo, mass crew photo. Alright, and then after that, it's away to the bars you can see on the right hand side there for our team socials. While all that's going on, don't forget, Race Crew supporters, you stick around in the auditorium and you'll have your very own presentation with wine. So thank you very much, guys. Really proud of you being part of our club race. I'm looking forward to seeing you all around the world. Thanks for listening, and most importantly, good luck and enjoy it. Thank you.
Kill the audience? Yeah, I can say, yeah. Just let it's got to let it run. They've got who's Yes, just leave that out for
We'll go and check it. You've got parking now. You've got the... You've got your phone. Your phone's
Sorry?